After the game, I asked Kyle Shanahan why his team was so unprepared for such a big game. I mean, I said, Kyle, you went on the radio and said it's going to be a really close game. But is it hard to prepare your players despite saying that when they know it's a 3-8 team? And he bristled at it. Like, what do you mean? I was like, well, your team played poorly. They didn't look prepared. And he wouldn't agree. He said, well, that's sports. Sometimes you just lose and play poorly. He wouldn't agree that the team was unprepared. I thought that was kind of obvious. I mean, I thought that's why he was saying during the week, look, Seattle's better than their record. I bet you this comes down to the last possession. Why are you saying that? Because you're worried your team is going to take Seattle lightly, right? 3-8, just lost to Washington. You're trying to hype up your opponent so that your team takes them seriously, and they don't. And you have totally unprepared, 10 penalties, 3 turnovers plus a safety. And he's like, no, we weren't unprepared. Which made me think, oh, right, because that means you're in charge of preparation. Head coach is in charge of more than just the game plan and the play calling. It's also having your guys prepared emotionally and mentally to play a freaking football game, 60 minutes. You didn't do that. But he won't admit to that. So that got me thinking, okay, they were unprepared in this game. How many times this season have they been unprepared? And how many of their losses can you chalk up not being prepared as a major factor? I went through all of them, and I think it's all 6. So let's go through and see if being unprepared is not the root cause of the 49ers inconsistency. Week 3, the 49ers are 2-0 at home against the Packers. Their starting cornerbacks in this game are Josh Norman and Emmanuel Mosley. I believe this is Norman's first start. Lenoir had started, been kind of rough, got benched. Norman goes down mid-game, bruised lungs, has to spend the night in the hospital. Lenoir comes in and looks totally freaking unprepared. He looked okay the first couple of weeks, and this one, right off the bat, 25-yard defensive pass interference penalty, and then with the game on the line, misses an assignment, plays zone while the rest of the defense plays man. Didn't just get beat, just didn't know what to do. Utterly unprepared. Niners lose because Diamador Lenoir not prepared to play. I mean, that's the mark of an unprepared team. A guy comes in, a backup has to play, and it looks like he didn't practice all week. Like he got no reps with the starters and was running scout team all week. That was one mark. Week 3, Diamador Lenoir not being fit to play in that game. He never should have been on the field. If that's how he was going to play, it should have been Dante Johnson, just like it was in this game. Lenoir comes on the field in this last game. Is so bad they have to go immediately to Dante Johnson. That's what should have happened in this game too. He was not prepared or whatever. Week 3. Week 4, the first game against Seattle. Okay. This is the one when Robbie Gould goes down pregame with a groin injury. Now, you might think in this situation, Kyle Shanahan would have a plan. If the kicker ever goes down pregame, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go for 2. We're going to go for on 4th down. We've seen him go for 4th down 5 times in a game this year. We're not going to kick any field goals. No, that's not what he did. His plan is to use his punter as the kicker. He was not prepared to lose a kicker pregame. Could happen. Wasn't prepared. Attempts a 41-yard kick with Mitch Wishnowsky. Really happened in this season. He missed it. Also missed an extra point. Could have just not kicked the 41-yard field goal. Could have just gone for 2. Also in that game, Trent Cannon fumbled a kickoff twice on the same play. Seahawks recovered deep in the Niners territory. I'm not saying that's being unprepared. That's just terrible special teams. That's another thing. But that would be a theme this season too. Terrible special teams play. Like, just let the ball bounce into the end zone or something. The Niners probably would have won that game if Trent Cannon had just let the ball bounce into the end zone rather than try to catch it. The Niners would probably have a better record right now if they had let all kickoffs just bounce as opposed to trying to return them. That's how bleak things are. Okay, that's the second example of lack of preparation. Mitch Wishnowsky attempting field goals. Week 5 in Arizona. Garoppolo's out. Trey Lance has to play. But Kyle Shanahan hasn't spent any time preparing Trey Lance to play this season. He hasn't taken any meaningful first-team reps. And when he did, he was the wildcat quarterback. He would fake a handoff and then run between the tackles. And that's exactly how the Niners use him, because that's what they prepared him to do all year, is to be this Taysom Hill gadget quarterback. And that's how we use him. They're not prepared. They haven't adequately prepared their backup quarterback to play. And they use a gadget offense that has nothing to do with their offense. They only let him hand off 9 times and lose, despite their defense holding the number 1 offense in the league to 17 points. They were not prepared for They were not prepared for Jimmy Garoppolo to get hurt and to play a game without him. Weren't prepared. You think like, oh, Jimmy Garoppolo missed 10 games last year. You brought in a new guy. We don't want him to start right away, but Jimmy misses games, so we're going to sprinkle in reps every week for Trey Lance, so he's ready just in case Jimmy Garoppolo has to miss a week and a half. Nope, they don't do that. And so when Jimmy Garoppolo goes down, they have to try to win a game with the wildcat quarterback, or that's how they use him. Weren't prepared for Jimmy Garoppolo. They were not prepared for Jimmy Garoppolo to miss a game. That was week 5. Week 7, after a bye week, 14 days to prepare to play a rain game against a team that plays their home games in a dome, the Indianapolis Colts. All week, Kyle Shanahan says they're not practicing with the wet ball. Who knows why? Sometimes you'll have a water boy just spray water on the ball before every play like it's raining. Niners didn't do that. Colts did. Colts won by 12. Did not prepare properly for a rain game. Had 2 weeks to do it. Had the home field advantage. Going against a team that plays their home games in a dome. Lost by 12. Week 9. Arizona again. This time, Kyler Murray doesn't play. Now, this news wasn't known until right before kickoff. The Cardinals are being coy. Now we knew that we know now that Kyler would go on to sit for 3 weeks, but this is week 1. The Cardinals are coy. They say he might play. The Niners say we're preparing for Kyler Murray. We're preparing for Kyler Murray. As if they're so good that the Cardinals are scared and they're going to rush Kyler Murray, an injured Kyler Murray, on the field just to maybe possibly beat the Niners, but probably more likely lose. Nope. They play Colt McCoy. The Niners are not emotionally, mentally, in any way prepared for him. Lose by 14 to Colt freaking McCoy. Clearly, they were not prepared in any way to play that game. And they got embarrassed at home by 14 to Colt McCoy. And in this last game, you want to talk about not being prepared. Everyone knows the Seahawks have your number. They're desperate. You got to have this game to call yourself a contender. You give up a punt return for a touchdown, a fake punt for a touchdown right off the bat. You weren't expecting the Seahawks to try something like that. They're 3-8. They're at home. They're desperate. You didn't expect to see a fake punt at any time. Not prepared for a fake punt. 10 penalties. 3 turnovers. A safety. I mean, no one was prepared for anything. K'Wan Williams had an intercepted gifted to him because Gerald Everett decided he didn't want to catch a touchdown pass. Said he wanted to kick it to K'Wan Williams, who caught the ball in the end zone, then returned to the 3-yard line instead of just going down, getting it to 20. Gets to the 3 plays later, Jimmy Garoppolo sacked for a safety. I mean, there's more. Again, Lenore has to come in the game. Mosley goes out. Lenore comes in, totally unfreaking prepared. He gives up the long catch to DK Metcalf. Then he has defensive pass interference penalty, like the next play in the end zone, which sets up the 1-yard TD run. That's 7 points on him. Then later on, he gives up the catch to D. Eskridge right in front of him and misses the tackle. That's 14 points right there because Diamador Lenore was in a game, even though he shouldn't have been, and was totally unfreaking prepared. And then you got Trent Sherfield, who replaced Deebo Samuel and had 2 penalties. All these guys that step in this year for the starters are unprepared. Is there anything else I'm missing? Missed an extra point. And Kyle Shanahan's had the nerve to say the team was prepared. It seems to me that the problem is they don't really have a head coach. They have a play caller, a play designer. And while he's focused on the right plays to call in what sequence, he's not focusing on these little details. And when something happens, when his kicker goes down, when a cornerback goes down, he can't cope. And he thinks that being a great coach is having the best offense or the best scheme or the best script. It's part of it. Bill Belichick is very good with his defense, but when people think about why Bill Belichick's the best head coach, it doesn't really have that much to do with his defense. You're not really talking about his defensive numbers. You always talk about how prepared his team is for all situations. That's what it is. It's not like, well, he is a great defensive coach. That's just the start of it with Belichick. As a head coach, his team is prepared for all situations. Anything weird happens in a game, they practice that. They've talked about that. They've simulated that. The Niners, Mosley goes down. Oh my God, what are we going to do? So it seems to me that the root of the Niners' issue is they don't have a head coach. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo is limited, but he's a decent quarterback. He's 18-4 when he doesn't throw too much. Kyle over here, I mean, like, for example, if Jimmy Garoppolo was cheaper, you could probably win a Super Bowl. If he was cheaper and you had a really good running game and a really good defense, you could probably win a Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know if you can win a Super Bowl with Kyle Shanahan as a head coach. I don't know if you can win a Super Bowl with Kyle Shanahan as a coordinator. He's had 2 chances. But he just doesn't prepare his guys well. He's in X's and O land. He's thinking about X's and O's at all times. Think about that.